we will continue pivot table today, and then we will go through the steps in order to clean data, in order to convert raw data into easily understandable format. So today's session is going to be divided into two parts. Firstly, we will complete pivot table, and secondly, we will be working on data cleanup.
Yeah, dear.
For pivot table, what we are going to do is we are going to use
Yes.
Sample Superstore.
5 months back.
For pivot table, we are going
4
to
months
use
or 5 months
something
back.
which is called as, we are going to use Sample Superstore for the process of grouping the data. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a Control A, and after doing a Control A, I will go to Insert, and under Insert, I will choose Pivot Table. When I click on Pivot Table here, this particular data set, which is the data for Sample Superstore, will now be converted into a pivot table format. What do I mean by pivot table format? You will get the pivot table placeholders onto the left hand side, and on the right hand side, these headings of my columns will be available so that I can drag them in my row shelf and in my column shelf in order to create a pivot table. Select the data, click on pivot table, select a table or a range. So this is the table or the range of cells. Then you have choose where you want the pivot table to be placed. Choose where you want the pivot to be placed enables you to decide whether you would like the pivot report to be placed on this sheet, that is on Sample Superstore, or you would like Excel to add a new sheet for this pivot table. By default, we always get the new worksheet icon selected, and it becomes easier in order to place it on a new worksheet because the hassle is not there of where to place your pivot table. The hassle of where to place your pivot table is not there. Click on OK. And here you have your pivot table fields, that is your column labels, which are available here. And you have your pivot table placeholder here. As soon as you start taking the pivot table fields to the row shelf or to the column shelf, your pivot table starts getting populated and you can create your pivot table. Now, for the purpose of grouping in a pivot table, the most important thing which you need to do is you need something which is unique for the count of one employee. You need something which is unique for the count of one employee. So what would be unique for the count of one employee? Your row ID is unique. Your order ID is unique. Your customer ID probably could be unique. So anything which is equal to the count of one employee, that will be taken in the row shelf. That will be taken in the value shelf. Anything that is unique for the employees, okay, will be taken in the value shelf. So I'm going to take the row ID in the value shelf. And in the row shelf, I will take anything on the basis of what I want to do grouping. If I want to group date-wise, I have two date-related fields. One is order date, the other is ship date. If I want to group the data based on dates, I can either use the order date or I can use the ship date. If I use the order date, then I can group date-wise. Else, I can use the ship date and I can group ship date-wise. For now, I'm going to take the order date in the row shelf. So in the row shelf, I took anything which was a date data type. And in the value shelf, I took anything equal to the count of 1 for one employee. Now, before this also I had grouped, and hence the grouping is available. Now, this is how it looks. You have your order dates. If you don't want order dates, you can also take ship dates. You can take ship dates also. So whichever date parameter based on what you want to group, you can take that in the row shelf. In the value shelf, you will take anything equal to the count of 1 for one employee. So you can also take order ID. If you want to take row ID, you can take row ID. Suppose I take order ID, I have to make sure it is count of order ID, so that I know how many orders were shipped on one particular date. I need to take count of order ID, and here I can either take the ship date, that is the date on which this order was shipped, or I take the order date, the date on which people have ordered on a particular date. So whichever date data type I have, I can take it in the row shelf. Whichever date data type I have, I can take it in the row shelf. Below row label, you will take the first item, and under group, you will either click on group selection or you will click on group field. If you click on group selection or you click on group field, the same pop-up will open up for the purpose of grouping. Whether you click on group selection or you click on group field, in either case, the same grouping option will open up. Under auto, you have the starting date. So you have the starting date, that is the date at which the dates start. Sorry. Then you have the ending date, the date at which the date stop. So starting date is there, ending date is there. By will be the determining factor based on what you want to group. By will be the determining factor based on what you want to group. So you can take years, you can take months, depends upon you. Suppose you want to take years and months both, you can take years and months both. If you take years and months both, you will first get the year-wise analysis, and within the year, you will see the month-wise analysis. I repeat, you will first see the year-wise analysis, and then within the year, you will see the month-wise analysis. So we have the years, we have the months. Click on OK. And here, under 2015, you will see the subtotal as 1940. But then for individual months, you will see individual values. Scroll 2016, you have the data for 2016, and then you have the months. Is it clear? Yes, I will repeat this. Firstly, I will click on ungroup to ungroup the data. Then I will remove the items from the rows and the value sheet. Now here in today's session, we are continuing pivot tables because grouping in pivot table was not covered by us on that day. Grouping in pivot table can be done date-wise and also number-wise. So first we are going to do the grouping date-wise. In order to group date-wise, you need to have one or two column headers which are date data type in nature. You need to have one or two column headers which are date data type in headers. So here we have the order date and we have the ship date. In the value shelf, we will take anything equal to the count of 1 for one employee. In the value shelf, we will take anything which is equal to the count of 1 for one employee. Scroll here down, and here I'm going to take either the row ID or the order ID in the value shelf. Let me take the order ID now. And in the row shelf, any date data type can be derived. Any date data type can be derived. So go to order date, click on order date and bring it in the row shelf. Now here by default, you get it grouped because previously we have been grouping here. Click on ungroup to remove the grouping. When you ungroup it, you will scroll and you will see the dates, and next to the dates, you will see a number. What does this number indicate? Next to this number, there is 1. That means on this day, there is one order ID. That means one order is given. On this date, there are 3. That shows 3 orders have been ordered on this particular day. Let us scroll more. On this particular date, 9 orders have been ordered. So in this manner, based on the date which is there, the orders have been ordered. Select the first value and click on group selection. What will group selection do? Group selection and group field both will open the same pop-up box with the start date and the ending date based on your data, and it will also tell you whether you want to group month-wise, whether you want to group year-wise, whether you want to group quarter-wise. So you have the freedom to choose the parameter based on which you would like to group your data. Under pivot table analyze, under group section, I am going to click on group field. Starting at, the starting date is given. Ending at, ending date is given. By is the difference. So I will say year and month. So here you will see that the grouping is taking place not only year wise, but the grouping is also being taken place month wise. The grouping is taking place year wise and month wise. Click on OK. And here I have the date. These are the dates and this is the value associated with it. So for the year 2015, these are the orders, and month-wise individual orders are also given because you are seeing the count of the order ID and not the sum. So count will enable you to actually understand how many orders have been ordered in a particular month and in a particular year. If you want to collapse single items, the rule is the same. You come to the corner and you collapse. If you want to collapse everything at one go, you click here. If you want to expand everything at one go, you click here. Can you all please try it, everyone? Superb. Let's just wait for 2 minutes for everyone else to complete. Has everyone else completed? Those who are trying it out? Okay. How do we remove this grouping? Firstly, we come here and we hit on ungroup in order to remove the grouping. And then either we uncheck from here or we drag and drop outside the field areas. Let us go ahead now. The next thing what we are going to do now is we are going to understand, we have completed this, we are going to understand how to group number wise. We are going to understand how to group number wise. In order to group number wise, we will be grouping either sales values or salary or profit or quantity. So these are some of the values we will be working with if we want to group number wise. Now, the methodology remains the same. However, earlier for date, we were using date data type. Here, we will be using number values. Now, let us begin with anything equal to the count of 1 for one item on the table or on your pivot table. So, anything equal to the count of 1 for one employee can be either row ID or it can be order ID. Anything equal to the count of 1 can be either row ID or it can be order ID. So what I'm going to do over here is I am going to take the row ID and I'm going to drag and drop it in the value field shelf. So either the row ID can be taken or the order ID can be taken, and you need to take it and drag and drop it in the value field shelf. Here you can see the sum of the row ID. Let it be. Then in the row shelf, scroll to the end and you will see sales value. You will also see quantity. You will see these kind of values in the pivot table field. Now, if I want to group based on sales values, I will take the sales value and drag and drop it in the row shelf. Can you see row label? And the salary amounts are here. If you don't want to group sales wise, you can also group based on quantity. If you want to group profit wise, you can group based on profit. Suppose I want to group based on profit. Take the profit in the row shelf and sum of row ID, double click here and change it to the count so that we get the head count as to how many people have got the same profit value. The sum of row ID will have to be converted to count in order to find out how many people have got the same profit amount. Click on OK. And here, when I scroll through it, I will see the different profit values. Click on the first cell just below the label of the profit column. Under pivot table analyze, click on group field. Starting at, I will say 0 and ending at, I will say 9,000. And difference between, I'll say 1,000. Actually, it's going to minus 6,500. So I will have to do starting at minus 7,000. Click on OK. And here you can see the groups. So here you can see the groups and the maximum people are between 0 to 1,000 profit value. Maximum people are between 0 to 1,000 profit value. Is it clear, everyone? Let me ungroup it and show it to you all one more time. Remove all the items. Firstly, take anything equal to the count of one item in the value field shelf. So either row ID or order ID. Let me take order ID. And in the row shelf, I will take any value which is numeric in nature. In the row shelf, I will take any value that is numeric in nature. So I can take sales, I can take quantity, I can take discount, and I can take profit. Let us take the sales values for now. After that, click on just below the label on the first item. After that, just below the label, click on the first item. Either you can click on group field or you can click on group selection. In either case, the same pop-up will open. Starting at, you can write 0.5. Ending at 22,000, I will make it 25,000. Difference between 1,000 and say OK. So in this manner, the groups have been created. Yes, you can use postal code also and group by postal code for sure. Please try this everyone, grouping based on number value. Let me know when you all complete everyone so that I can go ahead. And if anyone wants anything to be clarified, let me know now. Because after this, we are starting the next topic, which is called data cleaning up. Let me know if you all have any questions or queries. Otherwise, we can begin with the next topic, which is called as data cleaning up. Yes, for sure. Okay, before data cleaning up, what we are going to do is, I'm just going to copy this column from sample superstore. And on this particular sheet, I'm just going to paste this column. I'll tell you the reason why I'm copy pasting this column. The reason I'm copy pasting this column is I want to show you some functions on this particular column, and hence I am copy pasting some data. So let me start with the first thing. If I want to convert text into lowercase, if I want to convert text into lowercase, I will use a function called is equal to lower, open bracket, select the reference cell, close bracket, enter. It will convert the text into lowercase. Now, before I go ahead into data cleaning up is not only sorry, excuse me. Data cleaning up is not only useful for cleaning up data which is in Excel format, but sometimes you get data from SAP, you get data from certain inventories, you get data from uh, certain systems that you all have, or certain basically certain applications that you all have. You all fetch raw data. Yes, exactly. So that's what we are working on. So what I did was I first came here to Sample Superstore and I have copied this one column and I have pasted it here. Along with that, I've also got this one column from this sheet. Now, the first thing which I'm going to show you is lower function, which converts text into lower case. So is equal to lower, open the bracket, select the text, close the bracket, hit enter. It will convert the text into lower case. If you come to the corner and drag it, it will copy the same formula to the whole range. Please try this, everyone. Lower function. Please try lower function, everyone. Try lower function, everyone. Perfect. Let us go ahead. What will be the opposite of lower? Upper. Upper will convert the text into uppercase. So is equal to upper, open bracket, select the text, close the bracket, hit enter. So what did it do? It converted it into capital letters. Come to the corner, drag it down, and the answer is done. Once you all are done, let us talk about proper case. Proper case, also called sentence case, will convert the first letter into capital and make the all other characters lowercase. Proper, as the name suggests, will convert the first letter into capital and make the other letters small. Is equal to proper, open bracket, select the text, close the bracket, hit enter. And here you can see the first letter is capital and the rest of the letters are small. Again, the next letter is capital. So basically, proper case will make the first letter capital. Let me give you the reference. Let me know when done. proper is used generally if you get something like this. I'll show you. See this data and see how this is given. See how the contact details are given in this data. Can you see this? This is picked up from a SAP or an inventory. So in this scenario, in order to make these proper, you use proper keys. And we will be going and practicing these tools on that real time. For now, I'm teaching you. That is why I've taken this rough sheet called rename data, and I'm working on this. Real time, I'll make you try out in which scenario what will be used. Most welcome. Okay. Now, you also have a function which is called as trim. Okay. Sometimes what happens is, okay, there'll be product space, and D. Now, what is happening over here? This is not the ideal manner in which the remaining products are. So, in this scenario, when there is extra spacing in your cells, you can use the trim function. The name of the function is trim. If you do is equal to trim, open bracket, select the text, close bracket, it will trim out the extra space and only give you one character space. Similarly, if the spacing is coming before the text, it will remove that as well. So suppose this is another scenario, space. What will trim function do? Is equal to trim, open bracket, select the text, close bracket, enter. Can you see what happened? It removed the extra spacing before and between product and E. So basically, trim will trim extra spaces, but the good part is it retains a single space. I repeat, trim will trim extra spaces, but it will retain a single space. Please try trim function, everyone. Is equal to trim, but you'll have to make little spacing in one of the cells to check if it is working, because right now we don't have any data on this sheet which needs to be trimmed. At the moment, we do not have any data on this sheet which needs to be trimmed. Are you all done with trim? Okay. Now we also have something which is called as text before or text after. If you're using Office 365, okay, then you will get access to these two tools, text before and text after. And in this case, it will look for a delimiter. It will look for a delimiter and give you text either before the delimiter or after the delimiter. I repeat, it will look for a delimiter and give you text either before the delimiter or after the delimiter. So here you'll do is equal to text after, open bracket, select the text. So I want text I want the alphabet only, like A, B, or C. So I will say text after. This is the text, comma, and what is the delimiter? Space. Close bracket, hit enter. And what did I get over here? A. Because after product and after space, A is the character. So text after the delimiter is what will help if I want the alphabets. This is text after. If I'm looking for text before, what will text before do? Before A and the delimiter, the word product is coming. It will extract the word product and give it to me. So is equal to product, open bracket, is equal to text before, open bracket, select the text, comma, delimiter is space, and now it will give me product. Why did it give me product? Because I was looking for text before. Text before will give me text before the delimiter. I repeat, text before will give me the text before the delimiter. So I'll just copy paste text before and after. In case you have Office 365, please go ahead and try these two functions. One is text before, the other is called text after. Let me know when you are complete. Yes, I thought so it will not happen. Okay. In that case, we can use something which is called as text to column. It is called as text to column. So we will use text to column to split this into two parts. I repeat, we will use something which is called as text to column to split this into two columns. So product will come in one column and the alphabet will come in the other column. So let us go ahead with it. Text will come in one column and you can split it. So what will we do? Select the text, go into data, and under data you have data tools. Under data you have data tools, and under data tools you have text to column. Under data tools you have text to column. Click on text to column and here it will say convert text to column wizard. Okay, so this is the text to column wizard. At the moment, you can see product A, product B, all of this in a single column. Now here they are saying delimited by. Click on next and here you can choose the type of delimiter. So the delimiter here is space. As soon as I click on space, can you see product A and product B? The entire product column is one column and the alphabet column is a separate column. So as soon as I detect the delimiter here, it is giving me a separate column for the alphabets. Click on next and now they are asking me my destination cell. I can choose this cell. So here I'll have product and here I can have the alphabets. Click on finish and here this is my original data. Here is my data for product A and here is my data for product B. How has it been separated? Because of a delimiter, that is space. What is the delimiter here? The delimiter here is space. Yes, I will explain this again. This is this is a longer procedure, but for the first time I understand, I will just go through it again. I am deleting the data here. Firstly, I have my product A to product C in one column. I will select this data. After selecting the data, under the data tab, I will go to data tools, and under data tools, there is something called text to column, which will enable me to convert this text into 2 columns. Click on this. Click on next. On this screen, lets you set the delimiter your data contains. If your data has semicolon, choose semicolon. If your data has comma, choose comma. If your data has tab, choose tab. But in this particular data, it has space. As soon as I choose space as the delimiter, you will see this new line which divides the product from the alphabet. And this is doing to the whole column. And this is the preview of your data. When you click on next, in this step, it will ask you your destination. That means where do you want to place the answer? So click here and give this as your destination. If you don't provide a destination, it will overwrite in L column only. But I would like to keep my source data intact, and my answer should be in 2 different columns. But my source data should be as it is, and hence I'm choosing M44 as the location where I want the output, where the text is divided into columns. Click over here, say finished, and now my source data is in this L column. It is intact, and here is my destination or my answer, which is properly divided into 2 columns. Was it a little better now? So basically, if you do not want to use text before or text after, or if for some reason text before and text after is not available because you're not using that particular version, you can always use text to column in order to separate the data. Okay, so now in this order ID column also, we can do the same thing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a copy of this. I'm going to take a copy of this column, and this copied version, I am going to convert it into text to column. Can anyone tell me in the chat box what would be the delimiter in this case? Can anyone tell me in the chat box what will be the delimiter in this case? Yes, space is the delimiter here. Sorry, not space. Hyphen is the delimiter here. Dash. You can call it dash or hyphen. It is the delimiter here. Okay. So select the column, Control Shift down, go to data, text to column. Now here again, you will see the first step where it shows you preview of the selected data. So this is your selected data preview. Click on next. Now they will ask you on this screen, you have to set the choice of your delimiter. So what are we doing on this screen? We are selecting what our delimiter will be. I repeat, we are selecting what our delimiter will be. So here we will say others and give hyphen here. As soon as I say others and in the sample box I give hyphen, you will see that this data preview automatically gets bifurcated into 1, 2, and 3 columns. One column has CA and US, the middle column has the dates, and the final column has the order ID. click on next again, click on destination. So this is my answer because I want to have the sample data as it is, and click on finish. Now, if you see the data here, you will see that it has been bifurcated into CA, the date and the number. So in this manner, you can bifurcate data, which is very lengthy in nature, by using something which is called as text to column. But the idea is to be very, very specific about your delimiter. Now, if you have multiple types of delimiters, one is a space and one is a hyphen, you can choose the multiple options here in this checkbox. So you can choose over your comma, space, semicolon, even if you have multiple, and then go ahead with it. Can everyone try? Take a copy of this order ID column before you do it. Please take a copy of this before you do it. Okay, let us go ahead. I hope everyone has completed this. We have two more functions before we go up to that main data cleaning sheet, which is called as data cleanup. First function here is called the left function. Left function, as the name suggests, enables me to remove characters from the left side. So often you're given a code and you may want to remove 2 characters from the left or 4 characters from the left. Or for example, in this scenario, I may only want the CAUS to be in a single column. Then I can use the left function. Always start the function just next to the reference cell. Begin with is equal to left, open right. Select the text, comma as a separator, number of characters. So I want to extract from left side, but how many characters would I like to extract from the left side? I would like to extract characters from the left side, but how many characters would I like to extract from left side? CAUS are all 2 characters. So if I would like to extract 2 characters from the left side, I will write 2 here, close bracket, hit enter. And when I come to the corner and double click it, it will replicate it to the whole column. This is the power of the left function. It enables you to extract 2, 3, 4, or even 6 characters from the left side. Please try everyone, left function. Everyone, please try left function. Superb. Let us go ahead. Let us talk about right function. Is equal to right will extract characters from the right side. Is equal to right will extract characters from the right side. Now suppose I want to extract the number value, that is 152, 156. How many characters are there? There are 6 numeric characters. I can use the right function and say from the right side, I would like to extract 6 characters. If I say I would like to extract 6 characters from the right side, I will be using the right function. Is equal to right, select the text, comma, 6 characters from the right side, close bracket, hit enter. And now I only have the number value from the right side of the selected cell. I repeat, I only have the number value from the right side of the selected text. Come to the corner, double click and drag it, and it will fill the entire column by referring to the source column, which is called as E column. Please try right function. Once you all complete that, come to the data cleaning up sheet and we will talk about this sheet in detail now. I'll give you all 2 more minutes to complete that. If you have any questions with what has been covered till now, let me know. Can we begin with this sheet, everyone? Okay. Now, firstly, when you look at this sheet, you realize that there are a lot of issues with this sheet. Can anyone start listing out the issues with this sheet, please? Can anyone start listing out the issues in this sheet, please? What are the issues with this sheet? Anyone? Can anyone start listing out the issues with this sheet, please? Yes, what are the issues with this sheet? Yes, the data is not in correct format. Yes, what are the other issues? What are the other issues with this sheet? Quickly, quickly. One issue. Numbers, alphabet, space. Okay, what other issues are there? Are there blank cells? Yes. Are there errors in the data? Yes. So a lot of issues are there. So we have a lot of work to be done on this particular sheet. And hence the name of the sheet is only data cleaner. Now, if you want to take a copy of a sheet, suppose you want to take a copy of the sheet, that means you want to practice data cleanup even after today's session. Hold down control key. Hold down the control key and move the sheet either to the left side or either to the right. If you move the sheet either to the left or the right, it will make a copy of the sheet. So you have data cleaning up and you have data cleaning up too. And I can start working on the copied version of the sheet so that at all times I have the main sheet called data cleanup. I repeat, so that at all times I have the main sheet called data cleanup. Select within the data anywhere and do a control A. When you are within a data set and you do a control A, I repeat, when you are within a data set and you do a control A, it will select the whole data till where it extends. It will select the whole data till where it extends. After selecting the data, under the Home tab, under Cells, we have something which is called as Format. Under the Home tab, under Cells, we have some tab which is called as Format, which enables you to auto fit the row width and column height based on the matter in the cell. That means Excel will resize the sizes of the cell in order to accommodate the matter within the cells. So if the cell has to be made wider, Excel can make it wider. If the height of the cell has to be increased, Excel will increase the height as well. So based on the data, it is Excel who will auto fit the row height. See this? And again, auto fit column width. Did you see what happened? Under Format, we have auto fit row height, auto fit column width. It will auto fit it or make changes based on the quantity or the matter within the cell. Is it clear, everyone? Can you all try this, please, before we proceed? Auto fit row height, auto fit column width in the Format tab. Home tab, Format tab. Perfect. Okay, now the next thing which we are going to do is we are going to add a new column. We are going to add a new column. In order to add a new column, either you can use the keyboard shortcut Control Shift and plus. What is the keyboard shortcut to add a new column? Control plus Shift plus. Control Shift and plus. Plus sign. Which plus sign? The plus sign which is with equal to. Is it clear? So Control Shift and plus. A new column will be added. Is that clear? Okay. Now, in column C, I have the client names. I repeat, in column C, I have the client names. I would first like to replace the bracketed portion with blank space. So basically, I want only this much. I want only Amazon.com, comma, Inc. I don't want the bracketed area. So for that, I will select the column and under find and replace. Can you see find and replace? I will click on replace and I will say find what? Now what do I want to find? Bracket. But inside the bracket, there is data. Inside the bracket, there is text matter. How will I look for that? Open bracket, asterisk, close bracket. This shows that within the bracket, it is looking for text. Within the bracket, it is looking for text. So open bracket, put an asterisk, close the bracket. So what is it looking for? It is looking for text. Replace with what? Leave it blank. So what will happen? It will look for bracketed items with text inside and replace it with blank. I repeat, it will look for bracketed items with text inside and replace it with blank. Click on replace all and it will tell you it has made 31 replacements and it has replaced everything over here. Can you all try this? Find and replace. What will you all replace it? Open bracket, asterisk, close bracket, enter. Asterisk stands for a string that is multiple text characters. Asterisk stands for multiple text characters. Please try. Let me know when you all complete. Let me know when you all complete, everyone. Super. Okay, now suppose I want to convert the client names in lowercase. Which function will I use? Is equal to lower. Suppose I want to convert the client names in lowercase. Which function will I use? Is equal to lower, open bracket, select the text, close bracket, hit enter. And here it has converted the name of the client in lowercase. You can come to the corner of the cell and since you've taken the first cell just below the label, I repeat, since you've taken the first cell just below the label, it will copy it in the entire D column and complete it for you. It will copy it in the entire D column and give it to you. Okay, great. Now, I want you all to look at this column very carefully, the contact column. I want you all to look at the contact column very carefully. Are there issues in the contact column? Yes, no. What are the issues? Let me know in chat, please. What are the issues that you can detect in the contact column? What are the issues that you can detect based on what we have covered in the contact column? Improper format, okay. Can you get a little? Yes. No space and words are not proper. Yes, it is in toggle case, correct. What other space? There is extra spacing also. So here I'm first going to add a new column. Correct? Now, there are two functions I will use here. I need to use the trim function. I also need to use proper function. Let us do them one at a time. So first I'll have to do is equal to trim. What will trim do? Remove the spacing. Correct? But is it still proper? It has trimmed the extra spaces. But is the font proper? No. So what I will need to do is I will also need to use the proper case. Proper case will make the first letter capital. Okay? And the remaining letters in lowercase. So inside the trim function, I will write proper. Open the bracket. Select the text. Close the bracket and close the trim function. So what did I do? I did is equal to trim function. Then I wrote proper. So I want to trim it. Why am I trimming it? To remove additional spaces. Before, between, after. And why am I using proper? Because it is names of people. So the first letter should be capital. All the other lettering should be in lowercase. Can you see this? Is it looking proper? Yes. And now this column looks fine. Let me copy this. Now, when you're using two functions together in the same cell, we use equal to only once. See, in this particular cell, there is trim function and there is also proper function. Two functions are there in this cell. There is trim function and there is proper function also. Trim function is performing the function of trimming out the extra spaces, whereas the proper function is converting it into first letter capital, all the other letters in lowercase. Please try. Everyone has completed it? Yes. Now, If I decide that I don't want this contact column and I delete this column, see what happens. I end up losing the information in column F as well. Why do you think this happens? Can anyone tell me in the chat box? If I delete column E, why does column F also go away? That is because in column F, I am referring to column E in order to create the formulae. Yes. So how can I avoid this? Like I want to delete column E, but I want to retain column F. In that case, select column F's data. Okay. Copy it. Come back on the same place where you've copied, and from paste it as values. When you go into paste and paste it as values, it will no longer be referring to column E as a reference point. I repeat, it will no longer be referring to column E as a point of reference. So in this scenario, what will happen? It will simply be an independent entity in column F. So click on paste as values. It has got pasted. Click escape and now click on column E and go to delete and say delete sheet columns. Now, though I have deleted that column, my column E remains intact because I did a copy and in the same place, what did I do? I did a paste values. So what happened? It got pasted as values. I did a paste as values. So it got copied and it got pasted in the form of values. Is it clear? Any questions? Can you all please try copy paste as values? Let me know when you all complete. Those who have completed, go to column G, add a new column. And here, I want to add a new column called region. And from the department column, I want to extract the region. So if you see, you'll see Cloud Tech, Texas, Strategy, New York, Operations, Florida, Big Data, California, again, Operations, Florida. So basically, I have in the department column, I have the department along with the region. Suppose I would like to remove only the region from here. Suppose I would like to remove only the region from here. There are two ways of doing it. One method is text after and the delimiter will be underscore. The other method is text to columns. The other method is text to columns. There is a third method also called flash fills. Okay, let me show you flash fills because text after I have already explored. Text to columns, we have also tried multiple permutations, but flash fill is something new for you. Now, flash fill is a very interesting option. Flash fill is not a function. It is not a formula. It's not it's not using referencing, and neither does it auto update. So basically, you can call flash fill as a pattern. What will you call it? A pattern in the data. So what does flash fill do? Suppose over here I write Texas. Okay, in the next cell I write New York. Can you see it is filling it for me? If I do an enter, it has filled it fully using flash fill. But if I come to Texas and I change Texas to India, there will be no change. Why? Because flash fill is not a function, flash fill is not a formula, and neither does it use cell referencing. It is basically a pattern in the data set. Let me show it to you one more time. Control E is the keyboard shortcut. Control E is the keyboard shortcut for flash fill, and you will also find it in this drop down as flash fill. Okay, let me show you what it does. I write Texas. I go to the next one. I write New York, and it simply just fills it. I just have to do an enter and it will complete it for me. But if any values, I repeat, the catch is here, if any values in column F, that is my department column, get updated, my column G will not auto update itself. The items in column G will remain the same. I repeat, the items in column G will remain the same. They will not show any change. Can you all try flash fill, everyone? Keyboard shortcut for flash fill, Control E. It sees a pattern in the data set and gives you the answers. It sees a pattern in the data set and gives you the answers. Did you all manage flash fill? Did everyone manage flash fill? I'm not getting any response after my magic of flash fill. Do you all want me to show you flash fill once more, or you all have managed it? Okay. Now, since you all have managed flash fill, we will now try the same thing, but using text to column and using underscore as a delimiter. I repeat, since we have tried it with flash fill, you can delete that column or just make a copy of the department column, and we will try it now using text to column. Select the column, go to the data tab, and in the data, under data tools, we have text to column, which enables us to convert text into columns, which enables us to convert text into columns. Click on text to columns, click on next. Here, if you see, all the delimiters are checked. Remove whatever you don't need. And over here, under others, you'll need to specify underscore. As soon as you specify underscore as a delimiter, you will see that the departments has got divided into two columns, one with the department name and one with the region name. Click on next. Now, since we do not have two columns here, I cannot have the privilege of retaining my source column. So as my destination, I will choose department cell. So in the department column, departments will be shown. And in column G, which is an empty column, the regions can be displayed. Click on finish. And here it has got divided into department and region. But this is now using text to column as the methodology. Please try everyone, text to column. The delimiter is underscore. The delimiter is underscore. Okay, let us go ahead. I'm going to select the whole data, and if I want to highlight all the blank cells, I will use something which is called as go to special. In order to highlight all the blank cells, I will go to something which is called as go to and special. So where will I find go to and special? I will find go to and special under find and select. Alternatively, I can also use the keyboard shortcut F5 or function F5 and then click on special. So if I do this and I get go to, I get special here. So this I get with an F5. So for the go to shortcut, you have to press F5 or function F5 and you can use special from here. But if you want to go in a step-by-step manner, under the home tab, I repeat, if you want to go in a step-by-step manner, under the home tab, under find and select, you will find special. Click on special, click on blanks and say okay, and it will highlight all the empty cells and give me. Now, when you're giving a sheet, either with empty cells or with errors, it doesn't look very positive. It does not look like a very nice or a professional way to share a sheet. So instead of giving the sheet with these blank cells, I have first highlighted or selected these blank cells. Then I will go to the formulae bar and write NA. If you see, NA appears in H9. But if I would like NA to fill all the other blank cells, all I have to do is Control Enter and it will fill all the blank cells. I repeat, it will fill all the blank cells. It is also making a change to the profit margin column, which has an error in it. but I will soon be showing you the if error function in order to take care of the profit margin column. I will soon be showing you the if error function in order to take care of the profit margin column. Please try this, everyone. Do you all want me to show you this one more time? Yes? Do you all want me to show you this one more time? Yes, no? Yes, you can put 0. You can put anything you want. You can put 0, you can put anything you want. Works. Absolutely. But still the profit margin column does have an error which we will need to take care of. I will show you that in a bit once everyone completes this. Okay. Now in the profit margin column, you will see error. How will you take care of this error? Using the function called if error. Now, if error function has two parts. One is, if there is a value, it will show a value. But if there is no value and there is an error, you can customize the error alert. I repeat, you can customize the error alert. So if there is an error, okay, you can customize the type of error alert. So you can have a hyphen instead of the error. You can ask for an empty cell instead of the error. You can say no value. You can do an NA, anything. Basically, you have total control where you can decide that instead of showing values as errors, what would you like to show? Now, errors in cells do not always take place because you have punched in the formula incorrectly. Often, the error can also be a result of insufficient data or inadequate data or not enough data to look up, as in the case of a VLOOKUP. However, over here, it was a division error which was taking place. Now, in order to take care of the error, I am going to show you how to use the if error function. So as it is a function, it will begin with an equal to sign and you'll write if error, open the bracket. Now, as I told you, the if error function has two parts. As I told you, the if error function has two parts. One is value and the second part is value if error. One is value. The other part is value if error. So is equal to if error, open bracket, select the value. If there is a value, like at the moment in case 7, there is a value 13.3%. In that scenario, if error will show the value as it is. If there is an error, comma, you can decide value if error. So if there is a value error or a division error or a ref error, any kind of error. So if error works on all types of errors. So if there is an error of any kind, you can customize the error alert in this part of the formula. So how does if error begin? If error begins with an equal to sign, then you write the name of the function, which is if error, open the bracket, refer to the cell, comma as a separator between different parts of your formulae, and then value if error. So if it is an error, what will be the value? Suppose I say hyphen. Now, since hyphen is considered as text and text in Excel is always denoted in double inverted commas, I will do open quotes, hyphen, close quotes. Open quotes, hyphen, close quotes, close that. Hit enter. And here I have got my answer. But since the formatting is not proper, you are not seeing the correct answer. You need to go to Home tab and under the drop down, choose percentage. Come to the corner and double click, and you will see that instead of value, you are getting a hyphen. But wherever there is a normal percentage value coming, it is displayed as a value only. So the if error formula is a very powerful formula which helps you to clean up your sheets and take care of errors. Please try the if error function. If someone wants the if error function to be explained again, I will explain it one more time. We again use the if error function in the next session when we are going to do VLOOKUP. So when we do a VLOOKUP, we will be using the if error function again. Have you all completed, everyone? Let me know in the chat when you all complete. Everyone completed if error? Has everyone completed if error? Okay, super. Now I'm going to introduce you to a option which is known as data validation. Now, have you received reports with a drop down and you have the privilege of selecting entries from the drop down, and certain values get auto updated, and you feel that it is a very, very dynamic report or a dynamic analysis or insights of the data that you've received. Today, we are going to learn how to create a drop down in that manner. This drop down will also be helpful for us when we create a drop down using data validation, and in the next session when we perform VLOOKUPs, so that when we change the item from our drop down, our VLOOKUP table will get auto updated and we will see the refreshed or the updated values for the same. So what are we going to do now? We are going to create a drop down using data validation. Data validation will allow me to create a drop down, or as we call it, as a list. So using data validation, we can create a drop down or a list. Let us go to data tab, and under data tools, you will see data validation. Sometimes data validation is under this drop down. Sometimes you may see it open as well. But in my case, it is under the drop down. So click on data validation. Data validation allows you to create a drop down or a list where you can pick and choose the items within your list. The advantage of creating a drop down is that you do not need to any longer manually type in entries. You have the privilege or you have the comfort of simply selecting from your drop down. But when you create a drop down, the drawback is that if you copy paste data into a cell where you have created your drop down, your rules of validation get erased, and then your cell will accept any kind of data. I repeat, then your cell will accept any kind of data and your cell will become an open cell. So using data validation, you can create a drop down, or as we may call it, as a list. Click on data, click on data validation. Under validation criteria, under allow, we will choose list, which will enable us to create a drop down or a list. We will create a drop down or a list. Under source of list, we will choose certain items which we would like to include in our list. We will choose the source of our items which we would like to include in our list. Please be on mute. Yes. These are the items which we want in our list. So come to the source, scroll this side, and suppose I would like my client names in the list. Select the first cell, Control Shift and down to extend my source till the end. So first, under validation criteria, I allowed a list, and in source of the list, these are my items which I want to include in my list. Click on OK. Scroll to the side, scroll up, and here you can see your drop down or your list. Come to the corner and you can start selecting items from your list. Suppose I would like to replicate this list. Do I have to repeat the procedure? No. All I have to do is copy, select the column where I want to repeat it, and just do a paste. You will see that multiple drop downs have now been created. So in this way, you can create one drop down and then you can copy paste it multiple times. But suppose I come here and I take if error. I copy it and I paste it over here. You will see that this is no longer a drop down. The rules of validation have got erased. These cells have now become open cells and they are open to receiving any kind of data. Now I can go and type my name here. I can come and type in a number over here. The drop down only exists here where I did not change the items. Please try, everyone. Do you all want me to repeat it one more time? Do you all want me to repeat it one more time? Yes, no? Do you all want me to repeat it? Okay, let us go through it one more time. Firstly, you need to choose a destination cell, like a blank cell. Generally, what happens is, a very common issue people face is, they select a cell, okay? They go and create a drop down there, but then they lose the cell. So I tell them, first you color the cell, like put a cell color, then go and create the drop down, okay? But if you want to know how many cells have data validation, under find and select, just click on data validation. It will highlight all the cells and give you. Where will you go? Find and select data validation. Anyway, right now I'm taking the cell which has a yellow fill. Under data tab, go to data tools. Under data tools, choose data validation. And under this, choose list. And in source of the list, come here and choose these items. This time I'm taking the names of the contacts. So here this is the list. Come to the corner, say OK, and here my validation list has been created. Please try everyone. Data validation allows you to create a drop down or a list of your items. Please try everyone. Let me know if you all want to share your screen or you all have managed. Also, I want you all to try creating multiple data validations and then going and selecting the validation rules. So go into home, go into find and select. Under find and select, what will you do? Data validation. It will highlight all the cells which have data validation in it. Has everyone completed data validation? Now, suppose you create a data validation of the regions. You will not get duplicate entries inside. You will get unique values. So go to data, data validation, allow, list, and in source of the list, take the regions. Click again here, say OK, and you will only get that many items that there are. So there are 4 unique regions and you will get 4 unique regions in your list. Please try this everyone for regions as well. Please try this everyone for regions. Did everyone try for regions? Yes. If you all have completed for regions, I want you all to go to this VLOOKUP simple sheet. If you all have completed creating a drop down or at least practice drop down more than once, then I want you all to navigate to this sheet called VLOOKUP simple. In this sheet, next to employee name, the cell L8, I would like you all to create a drop down here of the names of the employee. So what do I want you all to do? Create a drop down here. Basically, it's a preparation for the next session. So in the next session, then we don't create drop down. We directly start working with VLOOKUP. So I want you all to come to the sheet which is called as VLOOKUP simple, and I want you to create a drop down for the names of the employees. I want you all to create a drop down for the names of the employees. I want you all to create a drop down for the names of the employees. Has everyone else finished creating? I'm going to do it so that you can check. For those who need a recap, please have a look. Under data, go to data tools, data validation. Allow, we are creating a list which is also called as a drop down. Source of the list, select the first cell, control shift down arrow key. Click here because we have selected the source. Click on OK. Now, many times we go to the end of the sheet in a formula. Control backspace will allow you to come up. Control shift and down arrow key helps you to go to the end or towards the end of your page, and control backspace enables you to come up. Is it clear, everyone? Has everyone created it? Okay. Any questions, any queries? In the next session, we are going to start with VLOOKUP in detail. Any questions, any queries, anyone? Does anyone want any topic or concept to be repeated? The video has been saved.